It's 7:27 in the morning. You're stopped at a red light. Rain taps against the windshield as that song starts playing. Not a new song, the one you've heard hundreds of times. You know every lyric, every beat. You know exactly what's coming next. So, why does it still give you chills? That shouldn't happen. Your brain is designed to stop paying attention to things it already understands. Every second, it filters out the familiar so it can focus on what's new. Normally, the more familiar something becomes, the less your brain cares. Movies lose their plot twists. Jokes stop being funny. Magic tricks lose their magic. So why doesn't music? Why can the same song still make your heart race, bring tears to your eyes, or cover your arms in goosebumps, even after you've heard it 100 times? Maybe it's nostalgia, a memory, a person, a moment your brain refuses to let go of. That sounds convincing until you realize something strange. Brand new songs can give you chills too. Songs you never heard of before. No memories, no nostalgia, nothing to remember. So if it isn't just memory, what is your brain responding to? Scientists have spent decades trying to answer that question. What they discovered isn't just about music. It's about how your brain predicts the future, creates emotion, and somehow turns invisible sound waves into something you can physically feel. And once you understand what's happening, you'll never hear your favorite song the same way again. The first explanation seems obvious. Maybe music gives us chills because it reminds us of the past. There's good reason to think that. Music is one of the strongest triggers of autobiographical memory, the memory of events you've personally lived through. That's why one song can instantly take you back to your first dance, a family vacation, or someone you haven't thought about in years. Researchers have even found that many people with Alzheimer's disease can still recognize songs they haven't heard in decades. Sometimes those songs can help unlock memories that seem completely lost. So maybe that's the answer. Maybe your favorite song gives you chills because it opens a door to your past. But there's one problem. Think about the first time you heard a song that completely stopped you in your tracks. You didn't know the lyrics. You couldn't predict the chorus. You had no memories attached to it. And yet, you still felt something. People experience this all the time, sometimes within the very first minute of hearing a brand new song. So nostalgia explains part of the story, but it can't explain the whole thing. Because somehow, your brain can recognize that a song is emotionally powerful before it has anything to remember, which means the answer isn't hiding in your past. It's happening inside your brain right now. So if memories aren't causing the chills, what is? For years, scientists researched for the answer inside the music itself. Maybe there was a perfect chord, a perfect melody, some magical combination of notes, but they eventually realized they were looking in the wrong place. The answer wasn't hiding inside the song. It was hiding inside you. Your brain is constantly predicting what's about to happen next. Not just in music, in conversations, while reading. Even as you watch this video, it's always making educated guesses about what's coming next. Music taps directly into that system. From the very first notes, your brain starts searching for patterns. It learns the rhythm, the melody, the tempo, and within seconds, it begins predicting what note should come next and exactly when it should arrive. You never choose to do this. It happens automatically. Researchers have even found that your brain begins anticipating on the expected note before it actually plays. But great music doesn't simply give your brain what it expects. If it did, every song would become predictable, just a joke you already know or a movie you can guess every scene. Instead, great music lives in the space between certainty and surprise. It lets your brain make predictions, then bends those predictions just enough to keep you completely engaged. Maybe the singer holds a note slightly longer. Maybe the beat arrives just a fraction later. Maybe one unexpected chord changes the emotional color of the entire song. Not enough to sound wrong, just enough to capture your attention. Suddenly, you're not just listening, you're waiting for something. And that anticipation turns out to be one of the biggest clues to solving the mystery. If your brain is constantly making predictions, when do the chills actually begin? Most people would guess they happen at the biggest moment in the song, the chorus, the highest note, the orchestra finally exploding. But brain imaging studies suggest something surprising. Your brain often starts reacting before that moment arrives. The reason is dopamine. Most people think of dopamine as the brain's feel-good chemical, but one of the most important jobs is preparing your brain for something it believes is valuable. Think about standing in line for your favorite roller coaster or smelling your favorite meal after a long day. The excitement starts before the reward. Music works the same way. As the tension builds, your brain recognizes the patterns. It senses that something important is about to happen. Before the emotional payoff ever arrives, your brain is already preparing for it. Then the music delivers. The moment is familiar enough to make sense, but surprising enough to still feel exciting. For a split second, anticipation becomes reward. Your breathing changes, your heart rate shifts, a lump forms in your throat. Tiny muscles attached to each hair of your body contract, and goosebumps appear. Your ears didn't create that reaction. Your brain did. It decided this moment matters. That explains why music can give us chills. But why doesn't everyone experience them? Researchers discovered that the biggest difference isn't the song, it's the listener. Brain imaging studies have found that people who regularly experience musical chills often have stronger connections between the parts of the brain that process sound and the parts involved in emotion and self-reflection. In simple terms, their brains connect hearing to feeling more strongly. Researchers have also found another pattern. People who experience musical chills more often tend to score higher on a personality trait called openness to experience. Despite the name, this doesn't mean that they're more outgoing. It means they're more likely to become deeply absorbed into what they're hearing. That's why two people can listen to the exact same song and have completely different experiences. The music is identical. The brains listening to it are not. The chills were never hidden inside the song. They emerge from the relationship between the music and the brain listening to it. There's a name for this experience. It's called Frisson, a French word meaning a shiver. It's the sudden wave of goosebumps, tingling, or chills that some people experience during emotionally powerful moments in music. So what actually causes it? The best evidence suggests that, for one brief moment, multiple systems in your brain become highly synchronized. The music matches your expectations, surprises you just enough, and becomes emotionally meaningful all at the same time. When that happens, your autonomic nervous system takes over. It's a system that controls automatic reactions like your heartbeat, your breathing, and the tiny muscles attached to each hair on your body. Those muscles contract. Your hair stands up. You get goosebumps. It's the same exact physical response your body uses when you're cold or frightened. Music is one of the few experiences powerful enough to trigger that response through emotion alone. The song provides the sound. Your brain transforms it into meaning. And for one unforgettable moment, you don't just hear music, you physically feel it. The next time your favorite song comes on, listen a little differently. Those goosebumps, that lump in your throat, that feeling you can't quite explain. They aren't random. They happen because your brain has been quietly doing something extraordinary all along. It recognized patterns, made predictions, built anticipation, then transformed invisible sound waves into emotion. That's why the same song can mean hope to one person, heartbreak to another, and nothing at all to someone else. The music never changed. The brain listening to it did. It turns out, music doesn't put emotion into your brain. Your brain creates emotion from the music. That's why a few invisible vibrations traveling through the air can become one of the most powerful experiences a human being can have. So the next time a song gives you chills, you'll know what really happened. For one brief moment, your brain turns sound into meaning. And that's something you'll never hear the same way again. If you enjoyed uncovering the hidden psychology behind everyday life, subscribe, because the world is far more fascinating than it first appears.